My name is Mad Skills, and you are now tuned into the Spark Something podcast. And right here, I want you guys to be the best version of yourself. I want you to live out the life that God is calling you to live out, because there'll never be another you. And no one else can do it the way that you can do it. Not with the flavor God has given you. So with that being said, welcome to the show. Let's go. Yo guys, what's going on? So I was actually on Instagram and I was just scrolling through Instagram and I saw this clip. I do follow $1 Million Worth of Game. It's a podcast. It's actually a really, really dope podcast. So if you have time, check that out. But they had Jim Jones on there. So big shout out to them. Big shout out to Jim. Jim Jones made a statement on there that I will take with me for the rest of my life from then to the day that I die. So his statement was, because I think they asked him, how do you stay, how do you stay consistent? How do you stay motivated? And I think that was a question. If it wasn't, I apologize. But I remember Jim Jones's response, and this response shook me. He said, when you can't stay motivated, stay consistent, because consistency will bring back your motivation. And I thought about that because it shook me. And I thought, I have given up on myself a lot with a lot of different things in my life, and I haven't always remained consistent. But these things, these thoughts, they come back around all the time. And when they do come back around, I'm mad at myself because I'm like, dang, I should have just stuck with it. And the reason why I don't stick with it is because I don't believe in myself enough to be able to think that I can actually do the things that I actually want to do. Because, not me. Couldn't be. Then who? It's definitely me. I think about it all the time, and I'm just like, God, I could have been so much further than what I was. And I thank God that I'm not. And I say that because the person that I am now, like the person that I am today, if I would have actually gotten everything that I thought I wanted then so quickly like that, I wouldn't have taken care of it. Like, I wouldn't have actually knew how to nurture these things. I wouldn't have knew how to take care of these things, because I would have just assumed that things were supposed to come as easy as pie. And I don't know how easy pie comes. That was just the first thing that came to my head. But I would have thought that things were just supposed to come, easy. It was supposed to flow easy. I didn't have to put too much energy and elbow grease in it. But no, I'm gonna keep it a buck. You gotta work. You gotta put energy and effort into the things that you want. But if you cannot stay motivated in doing these things, just stay consistent. I realize every episode that I do is not going to be amazing. Some of them may, it could be like a hit or miss. Some of them may go over certain people's heads, but I have to keep going. I got to keep going. I got to keep knocking at the door, because eventually the door is going to open. Eventually I'm going to walk into the things that I have been working so hard for. I'm going to just keep chipping and chipping and chipping, because I've looked just in the last couple of years at certain people that I know that I may or may not know them personally, but I remember where they started to where they are now. And I'm just like, they kept chipping away and chipping away and chipping away at this thing. Like, everything surrounded around this one thing. It didn't matter what they did. It always was, this one thing was the reason to why they did it. Like, I enjoy what I'm doing now. I enjoy speaking. Everything that I've done, whether it be music, whether it be poetry, whether it be dance, it's always me having a conversation. It's always me expressing myself. That's what I enjoy doing. That's what I've always enjoyed doing. I've had moments to where I've been, caught off guard, and I've had to, buckle down and muzzle myself, because I know that certain people may not get everything that I'm saying. I know that I can't say certain things to people because they don't see things the way that I see them, and that's fine. I don't beat them up about it. I just know who I can and can't talk to. And you have to be okay with that too. Like, be yourself wholeheartedly. But there will be certain people that just don't fool with you, don't like you. They're not going to take you, the way you think that they should. And that's cool. You just got to be comfortable with just being you, even in a room full of people who don't get it. And that's all I'm doing. So I told y'all, like, I've given up on myself a lot. There's a lot of things that I've started and stopped and stopped and started and started and stopped and stopped and started. And I've been on this journey of, dang, I should be so much farther than where I'm at. But I had to really sit back and think about, okay, I remember starting this a while back. And here we are again, a couple years later, and I'm restarting it. So I've come to the conclusion that I'm not going to start over anymore. I'm going to build from where I stopped, if I can. If not, then I'll have to scrap it. And I was always so heartbroken about having to scrap certain things. I'm like, dang, I put so much energy and effort into it. Now I gotta scrap the whole thing and start over. And I'm not saying starting over can be a great thing. It can be a blessing. It can be a blessing. But if you don't have to start over and you can start from where you are, then start from where you're at. We look for certain things outside of us to be what fuels us. We look for these things to be the things that fuel us. And I'm not going to front with you guys. I heard what God said, but I also know where I am is not where I'm going to stay. Where I'm at right now is not where I'm going to stay. There has to be growth, but I got to go through this process of remaining consistent. Even on days where I don't feel like recording, I have to stay consistent. Even on days where I don't feel like setting up and coming in here and being, happy-go-lucky, I have to remain consistent because I know what God gave me. I've prayed and I've sought God so much for purpose, for things that He's things that I'm supposed to be doing. And now that He's actually told me, this is what I have for you. I don't want to be the one to be like, nah, I don't like that. Give me something else. Are you crazy? Do you know how many people out here in the world are still looking for their purpose, looking for what they're supposed to be doing, and and you're not going to do it because it's not what you imagined it would be, because you just wanted it to be put together already. If we have things already placed together and we don't really put any of our stuff, or we don't really put us in this thing, we can't expect for this thing to actually work, to stay afloat, because it's just it's been handed to us. If we ain't never been taught how to manage anything, you think something that's been handed to us without us actually having to put the work in is going to be stable? It's going to stay afloat? It's going to crumble. It's definitely going to crumble if we have no idea what we're doing. So I'm not always motivated to hit record on this podcast. I'm not always motivated to map out certain things. I'm not always motivated to get up and do better. But I'm remaining consistent, and I'm being intentional about this thing. And I'm being intentional about it by even telling, the people that's around me that I normally would hang out with, hey, I'm actually recording today, or these are the days that I actually set to record. And I need these days to be able to do this. I'm mapping out like a week prior to the day that the episode comes out, like, how am I gonna promote this? What am I gonna do? How am I gonna make it different from the last time I promoted? How was the last time that I promoted this thing? How did it go? How much time did I put into it? The work, the effort that I put into it. What is it that I'm trying to do differently next time? Like, I have to map this stuff out. And that's the behind the scenes work that a lot of people don't see, that you don't always get praised for. And it's cool, bro. Like, it's okay if you put in some work and nobody notices that you put the work in. But a lot of us, we're so concerned about, okay, if I put all this in, I need people to know it was me. Listen, you ain't even gotta do all that. Like, I need God to be pleased with my life. I need God to be pleased with my life. Like, when I first started this podcast, I knew that I had people that would listen because they knew me, but I also had people that I knew that wouldn't listen because they knew me. Like, you got people, especially when you starting something new, you got people that's going to be real skeptical. You got people that's going to be like, okay, yeah, I support you. And they never will click play, or they'll never show up. You got people that actually know you for real. And they will support you, and they will pour into you. And you got people that don't know you at all, and they're going to support you more than anybody. And I appreciate everybody, whether you support me or whether you don't. Like, I've gotten to the point in my life to where I'm okay and I'm comfortable with that people are going to be people. And I can't force you to be anything different than what you are. I'm going to have to accept you for who you are. I'm going to have to accept you for who you are. And keep it moving. Like, right now, I do audio. Because if you guys heard my previous episode, I'm doing this in my closet, bro. I'm doing this in my closet, and I have to, create a schedule to where this is what I'm going to record. This is what's happening. What is God telling me to say in this moment? And I have to write this stuff down, map this stuff out. I was talking to Anthony when I dropped my first episode, and I told him, like, I had to calculate. I said, if I do 4 episodes a month for the next year, 4 episodes a month for the next year, I will get like to my 50th episode, just about. Yeah, I have 48 episodes in total. If I did 8 episodes for the year, I'll have close to my 100th episode. Listen, I'm going to do whatever God tells me to do. Whatever God tells me to do. Because I know what I prayed for. I know what God gave me. And there's certain things that God needs me to do. Not even to just be looking at other people, but to be focused on what it is that He's calling me to do. To be consistent on what it is God is calling me to do. Because I've given up on myself because I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I can do this. I've talked myself out of certain things. I've sabotaged my own self because I don't know if I can do this. Those thoughts still come up. I don't know if I can do this. But I think about what God said. And I also think about the people who have texted me and called me and hit me up and asked me about my podcast, or just told me that my podcast has blessed them in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And just saying, yo, I see you. I appreciate stuff like that. I appreciate it. God told me to be faithful over this. Like, I'm not even gonna say you, we, because I'm gonna put myself in this too. We want things to open up, doors to open up, and we not even faithful over the little. But we want all of this stuff. You got a goal, you got a dream, you got a vision, you got stuff you want to do. And you can't just be faithful over the small stuff of how to get it started. You too busy thinking about like, yo, I need it to look like this when it gets started. And that's cool. But who gonna put in the work for it to look a certain way as soon as you get started? Like, all I have is my laptop. I got a microphone. I got my phone. And I got me. And I got my crate. I am lacking absolutely nothing to be able to start. I'm not lacking anything to start. You're not lacking anything to start. All you have to do is start. All you gotta do is start. I have moments and days to where I'm so uncomfortable in the season that God has me in, but I'm still going forward. Because the person that I was, I can't go back to her. I can't go back to her. I don't know how I lived this long to have done it for that long. To have done or lived that version of myself for so long. I have to keep going. I have to remain consistent in what God has given me to do, because I have given up on myself way too much. I've given up on myself way too much because of fear. And I talked about fear because of not believing in myself. And I've talked about that a lot. And I'll continue to speak on it because there are going to be people that listen. And sometimes you need to know that other people are out here struggling with some of the things that you're struggling with. But God is so faithful, man. I'm in one of the most uncomfortable seasons of my life because I'm growing and I'm maturing and I'm becoming. And it's interesting. It's interesting. But God is good and He's so faithful, and He's showing me, showing me who I am, showing me what He's calling me to do. I know people right now, and I've talked to them about, well, what is it that you want to do? Like, you ever had a dream, a goal as a child, something that you wanted? And I've had people tell me, I don't know. I don't know what I want. And my first thought process, I didn't say anything, but my thought was, and I can say it here, my thought was, how do you not know? And then I thought about me walking into this phase of my life that I'm in now, and how God is beginning to bring things back up to my remembrance of a child, or God is beginning to open up my mind and my eyes to be able to see what it is that I actually have. How I'm beginning to grow in my relationship with Him, and He's beginning to reveal stuff to me. You feel me? And if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't know either. And not to say that there's anything wrong with not knowing, but there's something that's so fulfilling in knowing. And the only reason to why I didn't know is because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was supposed to do because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was supposed to do because I didn't know how to love myself. I didn't know how to pour into myself. I didn't know how to seek God for information and understanding. Like, I didn't know. And that's why a lot of people don't know. It's because they are still trying to find themselves. Like, we've been taught growing up that people will love us. They will show us how they feel about us. They will, if we do something great, we'll get applause. If we do something great, people are going to love us. They're going to gravitate to us. But what if we're not doing anything at all? What if we're just trying to find our way? Will they still love us? Will they still applaud us? Will they still gravitate to us? Or are we just gonna be out here in the open? Just looking how we looking. I let go of a lot of things. Like, I haven't done music in a little over a year. I haven't written a song in a while, and I got some people that done hit me up asking for like certain features. I'm honored, to be honest. I'm honored when anybody calls me or asks me for anything, but I haven't written in a while, and I realized how I didn't get a whole lot of people hitting me up. I didn't get a whole lot of people talking to me about music. I didn't get a whole lot of people talking to me about a lot of stuff. And people started walking out of my life. And it was an interesting journey, but I needed that. I needed that because this next phase, like, you see who's for you and who's not. So this next phase of my life, God will bring the people that's supposed to be there, because I'm showing up for me. I don't know nothing about nobody else. I'm gonna show up for me. I was looking for other people to pour and do all this other stuff. I'm gonna show up for me. I'm gonna be consistent and intentional about that thing. So when I get on here and I start speaking, I'm just doing what God has called me to do. I'm being faithful over my few. Because there's a few people listening. I'm being faithful over the little things. Because I can't expect to be standing in front of people, talking to people about my life, talking to people about my journey, speaking to people about self-love and self-care and loving themselves wholeheartedly and loving the people around them genuinely and knowing who God is and living life and not just surviving. Like, I can't talk to these people about these things unless I myself have been faithful over the things that God has given me. I myself am being a good steward over what God has blessed me with. This is where I'm starting. I have no idea where I'm going to be in a few more years from now. All I know is I told myself that I would be consistent. Even on days where I'm not motivated, I'm right here. And it has been a roller coaster ride, but a beautiful one. And I'm so freaking honored that God chose me. I hope you guys are blessed by this. If you can't stay motivated, stay consistent. Whatever the goal is, whatever it is that you choose, I'm going to say that. Because I lived my life with other people's decisions. Oh, you'd be good at this, or you should try that, or oh, I think you should do this, or oh, you were always great at such and such. I've lived my life because other people told me what I was good at. I lived my life through other people's decisions, and I realized I never fully made a conscious, genuine decision about me and what I wanted and what I needed until the day that I did. And the silence became loud. Silence was extremely loud, and it was really uncomfortable. But I can hear clearly. I can see God is speaking. And I'm so vulnerable to his voice that even when it hurts, even when it's uncomfortable, I'm intentional about listening. I know what he said. I heard him loud and clear. And I'm going to be faithful over this thing. I'm going to be faithful over the journey and the steps that he's given me on what I'm supposed to be doing. I have to be faithful. faithful over a few things, God will make you ruler over much. And throughout this journey, I will trust him. So, thank you guys so much for lending me your ears one more time. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for just showing me love and appreciating the journey that I'm on, the process that I'm on. Y'all are amazing. I pray for y'all. If y'all need special prayer requests, anything, DM me, email me, hit me up, let me know what's up. Speak to me on the comments, hit me up on the gram, Facebook, Go check out anything that you see in the description. If you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel. God bless you guys. Go and be great today. Be intentional. And remember, if you cannot stay motivated, be consistent. That's not my quote from Jim Jones, but I'm gonna live by that. That's a hill I'm willing to die on. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. This has been your girl, Mad Skills. This is another episode of the Spark Something podcast. And I hope this sparks something in your life. And I'm out. Peace, baby.